to me about your public grief versus your private experience. Like, what was that like for you? Were you different in public than you were in private? You know, how was your grief affected, public versus private?
I feel like my public grief has been surprising to people because people just expected me to say I was fine. And when they asked me how I was doing, I'd be like, I'm not okay today. Like I'm here and I'm doing what I need to do to take care of my kids and take care of my responsibilities, but I'm not okay. Like I don't feel okay. And they would just kind of be like, they wouldn't know what to say.
Now what?
Because they would be like, that's not what they just wouldn't know how to answer or what to do. And I mean, for the most part, I kept my complete falling apart to home because in general, I don't like people to see me cry. But over the last 3.5 years, I've learned that, you know what, the tears are too close to the surface. So if I was going to not let anybody see me cry, I'd have to stay home all the time because the tears come quickly when I talk about my girl and how much I miss her.
So can you tell me about your mom?
Yeah. Her name was Barbara, and she was a great mom. She, let's see, I don't know. There was 4 kids in my family for most of my life. And mom and dad were just both very giving and very loving people. Definitely very traditional, very, I don't know, just strong parents, very involved in our lives, but also not like, helicopter, lawnmower, whatever the terminologies are. So we had, growing up in the 70s and 80s, we had a lot of free time and things out there, but we were always expected to be outside. She was a realtor for most of my life, and did residential real estate type stuff. And then when the markets were bad, she would drive bus, and so she had her CDL, and then if to kind of supplement things. Yeah, and then supplement things in the summer because school bus driving is only a seasonal thing. Then the kids would all work in the berry fields around the rural area of Oregon City where we grew up, because she would again pick up kids on the berry bus and take us to the fields to work and then take us home. And so very, just very hardworking and a loving person.
That sounds really similar to my childhood, living close to the berry fields. Yeah. Because we were over in Damascus, boring area. So it's fun. We grew up not very far apart from each other, and then ended up becoming neighbors here in Spokane.
Yeah, it's crazy. It took 400 miles to be able to meet each other when we grew up. Right. Probably 20 minutes from each other.
That's true. That's true. So she sounds like just a regular good mom.
Yeah. No, she was great. Not perfect, but I don't know any parents that are. but she was great.
So did she was faith or church a part of your childhood? Was that something that your parents?
Yeah, basically, I always joke, that basically was, could have been born on the front pew of church, and so, it was faith and being a follower of Christ, and growing up really in the church was it really means that, growing up in the church. It was, we were in church on Sunday morning for Sunday school, and then for the service following, and then we'd go home and eat lunch and probably take a nap, but we'd be right back at church Sunday night at 7:00, and then Wednesday nights for youth group or Rangers or different things like that. And so the church was always, and our faith was always very, it was the center of everything that we did as a family.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Very, very similar upbringing. So, because I want to touch on that, and I want to know if your experience was similar to mine about how how important that faith component was when I lost my husband.
Yeah.
Having that community around me was so vital, besides my beliefs and my faith.
Yep.
Helped a lot. So
yeah, we can get into details for sure, but yeah, the short answer is yes, very much important.
Right. And it's not something that everybody grows up with anymore. So sometimes people don't realize what a huge help that is when you're grieving.
Yeah.
To have a faith community around you.
Yep.
So you, how long ago did your mom pass away?
So it was 12 years ago this last March. So it was March 15th of 2012. And
wow.
Yeah, so at times it seems like it's forever ago, and at times it seems like it was, still just yesterday.
Well, and also, Caitlin, I think you bring up a good point, because it wasn't the words that you said. It was that feeling of that I had your absolute 100% presence, because you put everything away, you brought me aside, and this happened over and over again, just you being 100% present. It was never anything that someone said. There's nothing that you can say to fix the pain, but you can just kind of clothe someone in that love, just even if it's for a second.
I agree. I think having that 100% presence, like putting away distractions, sitting down with someone, looking them in their eyes, or putting your arm around them and just being there in it, it's very uncomfortable for some people. And I will acknowledge that, because they want to say the right thing. They want to fix it. They want to say, don't be sad. Like, let's focus on all that's going right, But for some moments, we just need someone to just sit with us and be there.
Yeah.
I do understand some loss. I understand loss a bit. But to have our baby die while it was so devastating, to have someone die that you had been involved with, say, almost 30 years, because I loved them in utero as much as I loved them when they were delivered. Mm-hmm. That just added another level of devastation, So yeah, that was rough. Lynette's friends were amazing. Mm. They came. One of us loaned a car so that we could run errands, because some of us had vehicles, some of us didn't, because people were flying in to help. They organized a wake for her. They supported. They literally put their arms around us too.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Good Grief Believer podcast. I believe we grieve better when we share our experiences with others, and I am always eager to hear from other people about their unique grief journey. Please contact me if you would be willing to share your perspective with me as a guest on the Good Grief Believer podcast by emailing me at goodgriefbeliever@gmail.com. That's GOODGRIEFBELIEVER @gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you soon.